It's time for some StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void, and we're going to be jumping into this game here. This is a High Masters game posted on the Cast It subreddit, so we're going to go ahead and cast this submitted by a viewer here. And let me go ahead and switch this. I always forget to do this. Damage there, and then I think that should be all I need to switch. We got some GLHF. I believe this was a ladder game played in the Masters League. So it should be a pretty high level game. Spawning up here representing the Terran player is going to be the red player Richardfeder. And down here in the bottom left is going to be the blue Zerg player Cloud M's TheLungy. And he's going to be representing Cloud M. And I was thinking for a second, if it was Cloud J, that'd be pretty cute, because then it'd be you know, like the Day J reference, Cloud 9. But, you know, Cloud M, whatever that means. Lungy going to go ahead and take this front expansion as his first expansion versus the Terran player. Pretty common opening so far. And I apologize if this cast is a little bit weird, if some of the audio is a little bit off. Right, I just broke my leg, so I have to be laying down all the time for like 6 weeks. So it's going to be a ton of fun. But I'm going to see if I'm still able to cast in this state. So we'll see if that's possible. And I'm going to go ahead and turn that up just a little bit. And there we have Overlord can stray across the map to see if he can scout anything out. Bring up the production tab there. Forgot to do that earlier. Terran player saving up so he can get his own expansion coming up. And there goes the SCV down there. He's going to collect some minerals. Then he's going to plop that command center down. Got a spawning pool just about to finish, as well as a Reaper on the way. So it should line up quite fine for the Lungy. And he still hasn't taken his third, so he's saving a little bit of money here, most likely so he can pump out some quick queens and zerglings to make sure that he's safe against this Reaper harass that's going to be coming his way. Full wall off does complete here for Richardfeder. And that is a weird name. That is, like, I don't know, it sounds almost gross to say. Richardfeder. Sounds like a greasy guy. And I really apologize if that is your real name. Richardfeder. I don't know, something about it. It's like the word moist. A couple of drones transferring down here. Some Zerglings going to be coming down as well. They'll be here to greet this Reaper. The Queen won't be out just yet, but these Zerglings should be able to hold him off long enough to get that Queen out. And nice micro there, trying to block in the Reaper, but he's going to pull the wounded one back, and he might not even lose any Zerglings here. The Zergling's running for his life. The Reaper's trying to chase him down. Nice grenade goes down there and hits some of the drones. And two Zerglings now very low on health, but the Queen should be popping out now. And there it goes, and the Reaper's still not able to get any drone kills. Another bomb goes, or a grenade goes down there. And the Queen gets one shot off on it, but it looks like the Queens are out of position and the Reaper may get his first kill, but no, great micro here from the Lungy. And the Reaper does live, barely gets out of there. One shot remaining on him, 17 health. Queen not able to finish him off. And looks like the Lungy did go over and scout that there was no quick third and then went back, so he's feeling comfortable that his opponent's not playing super greedy. We have a third command center on the way in the base. We've also got our starport on the way as well. Zergling speed is about to finish, and that should be the end of the Reaper harassment. That once the Zerglings can chase those down, it becomes a lot harder for the Reaper to poke in and get any damage. He's going to put it over here on the side so that he can send it back in for some scouting information later, though. And then once the starport's finished, we might see some Banshee play, which it looks like not going to be the case, actually. We've got the barracks connected to the tech lab, so we'll see. It might be Banshee play. Most likely Liberator is going to be coming out of this. Will he put a reactor on it first, though, so we can start pumping those out 2 at a time? We will have to see. We've got a Baneling nest on the way, so it looks like we're going to see some traditional Ling Bang Muta, and I stand corrected. This Reaper actually getting a surprising amount of work done. Almost finished off another drone there. Let's take a look at the units lost, and we do have one unit killed for the Lungy, actually. What did he kill? Oh, the Reaper, duh. I just watched it happen. And the Overlord going to come in here, and he sees exactly everything that's going on. I don't know if he saw this barracks or not, but let's see. And he did see the barracks coming out too. Not that big of a tell. Oh, but he doesn't actually know about the factory, but obviously there has to be a factory there. He doesn't know about the reactor. So that could be big depending on what he's planning on doing with this reactor. It might just be building it for the starport to go over there and take it. Or he might be planning on pumping out some Hellions, Hellbats, that kind of thing. And we do have some spores on the way already, getting ready for that follow-up. People love to abuse Zerg because Zerg doesn't have a lot of anti-air units early on. It is a little bit different now with the buffs to the Hydra and the Ravager being somewhat able to hit air. but not really reliably. Like, you can't really count on a Ravager to shut down very much play, other than, you know, it can force Liberators to reposition, or sometimes take them out if the Terran player is not paying attention. But we do have our first Liberator flying across the map here, and it looks like he'll fly straight through this Overlord here, which you should have actually known was there if he was always paying attention. But, you know, we can't all be perfect, so he's not going to actually, he's just going to actually take this out with the Liberator instead of trying to get in there and get some drone kills. So he's just going to be content to take out a couple of Overlords here. And more Overlords gathering on the other side of the base over there. And they're trying to get down these rocks so that the Queens can come out here and save this Overlord. Nice transfuse going down there. Going to keep it alive for a little bit. One Queen coming around on the low ground and is going to start hitting away at that. So that means that this Overlord will live. This Liberator's been preoccupied for a long time now and wasn't actually able to get anything done. We do have Terran infantry, weapons, and armor on the way. So we're going to switch into some big, heavy bio play here. Stim pack just about to finish, so it's good to remember that. A lot of Terran players sometimes forget that with how much building switching they have to do. It's sometimes hard to keep track of what you still need to research and what you don't. We do have upgrades on the way as well for the Zerg players, so both players keeping pace fairly well. And the Liberator goes into liberation mode to try to take out some units here, and he will take out... Doesn't even take out that Queen. Nice transfuse at the last second there. Nice Queen control here. TheLungy really doing some work with these mass Queens here, and this is High Masters according to the cast post that was there. So these guys, you can definitely tell with that kind of Queen control and everything like that. There's very few mistakes being made, so this is going into Grandmaster level for sure. We've got Baneling speed on the way, so we can start engaging this mass Terran force here. We still don't have combat shields out, so these Marines are a little bit more susceptible, especially to Banelings and things like that. We've got some medevacs out. And now we're going back into Widow Mine production, so we've got another reactor over here. So the reactor earlier that the factory made was actually for the barracks. And he's just going into some really heavy barracks play. I think I'm really impressed by like Terran players who can really efficiently control all those different add-ons, you know, and like use a factory as basically an add-on production facility. Because when I'm Terran and I try to do that, I always, like, I don't know, it doesn't seem like the attention that I'm able to pay to the different buildings actually ends up paying off, that I pre-make these add-ons and sometimes I forget, and then a building's sitting around waiting for a reactor to finish, and I don't know, it's a big mess when I do it, but not the case at all for Ricky over here. I hope he doesn't mind that I call him Ricky. I feel like we're friends though. And the Bioforce is going to push out here into what is normally the Terran's 4th base, and this Zergling waiting here for an SCV to come down and try to make that happen. We've got the Terran force moving out here on the left-hand side of the map now en masse. We've got reinforcements streaming over from the right-hand side, and they're going to meet over here. The creep spread is fairly nice, so the Marines are going to have to start cleaning this up pretty quick. The medevac's boosting back to make sure that they're with their army so they don't get picked off real quickly by these Queens that are out here waiting for it. And here comes the engagement. A couple of Zerglings running forward. The Queens have to retreat, though. The Baneling's just now finished, so it looks like he's going to be ready to take and engage. Will he be able to split these Marines effectively? Scan goes down, so he sees the Banelings. Plenty of time to pre-split. Big connections there from the Banelings, and they're taking out most of the forces. A few Marines do remain, though. Does he have enough follow-up? There's more Banelings streaming down here. They do connect with the Marauders, and it looks like the rest of the forces will be cleaned up. TheLungy just has too many units. And very nice cleanup there, but he doesn't have a lot of forces remaining after that. Meanwhile, though, the Terran player has been macroing up, so he does have a kind of a small hit squad that he could send out. A lot of Terran players like to drop at this point because they have just enough to keep the pressure on. They don't want to end up on the back foot, so they use that momentum that they've... They try to maintain momentum rather than give it up to the Zerg there. And we do have the small Baneling Zergling hit squad coming out over here. A lot of Overseers to make sure that he can see those Widow Mines and they don't get taken out by any stray splash damage or anything like that. And it looks like he's just trying to keep his forces together right now. Not a lot of bulk in this army. He's going to get some Corruptors, perhaps going into Broodlords. We have the Infestation Pit, so Hive is still quite a minute away from being done. And not literally a minute, actually a lot more than a minute. Oh, and here comes the dropship flying right over the Zerg army, but nothing shoots up. But he should see this coming, and he should have time to prepare. The Queen's getting in position to try to take this out, keeping the Zerglings with the army so that the medevac cannot unload. And there it goes flying away, and it looks like it will manage to barely escape. The Corruptors are not out quite yet. He's going to unload the units there and walk on back home. He doesn't want one stray shot to take this out and lose everything, so he's going to make sure that the units are safe outside of the medevac. And there they go, just walking on home now. Scan going down to see where the Zerg army is at. He's going to see a whole lot of creep tumors. And it looks like Terran player is ready for another push. So red moving out now. And stim forward to try to clean up some of these creep tumors here before the engagement starts. He's pre-splitting so he doesn't get taken by surprise by these Banelings. And one Zergling running in there. Not sure what the Zergling was still doing back there. But we do see this nice pre-split here. Not a whole lot of units, though. How many Widow Mines do we have burrowed around here? Looks like none. We just have 2 Widow Mines back here. And I'm a little bit worried right now. I mean, the Zerg player doesn't have a lot, but he's got a lot of bases. And a lot of Zerglings, Banelings, and right now the Terran player, I'm surprised he stopped Liberator production. Maybe that's something that happens at this higher level of play that I haven't seen, but I've always... It seems like when I'm watching StarCraft and when I'm casting it, when I'm playing it, Liberators help this kind of scenario immensely. But the Zerglings rushing in here, and they see the big group, so they're going to back off for a little bit. Corruptor's going to try to fly in there, but the Marines have separated from the Medivacs. And I'll try to zoom out here because these guys are using positioning extremely, extremely well, and it's hard to keep track of. I don't know why I have those nameplates up there when they are clearly at the bottom as well. Cleaning up some more creep tumors, just trying to keep the Zerg in the dark a little bit. Whenever you do this, it kind of gets the Zerg player ready for an attack, and you don't necessarily have to commit to it, but it does force the Zerg player to prepare for it. And a couple of Zerglings running in there. Looks like they're going to force... No! Actually, I think he stopped command of that Widow Mine from actually attacking. Either that or every target it was targeting was dying. One Baneling does take out one Marine. Not the best exchange there for him. And there are a ton of Banelings left in the group, though, so he's just kind of overwhelming with mass numbers. He does have the economy to support it. Taking a look at the income bars real quick before this engagement begins, and it actually looks fairly even. The Zerg player a little bit ahead in the gas. Coming in from a flank there, there's Banelings trying to roll through and get a good connection, but it looks like the splits are just too good. They finally do connect with a big group in the back, but the Zerglings running through and taking advantage of the split up units. And a few remaining Zerg units moving in here, and it looks like the Zerg player will have to retreat here fairly quickly. A couple of Banelings trying to come in and make a connection, but no, they do have to retreat. But luckily, the Zerg player does have a lot of space to regroup here. That's what's nice about this creep spread, is it keeps the advancing Zerg army back, or the advancing Terran army back. I'm sorry, while the Zerg player regroups. He's going to see these units streaming down here, so he knows for sure now that there's a base down here. So he's going to stim a couple of units forward. No drones here yet, so he doesn't have to worry about that. If these Banelings finish, they might be able to get a good connection with these Marines here, but they're already rallied to move away, so they get taken out. One Baneling connection, not the greatest. Meanwhile, the Zerglings up here, and the Banelings looks like they've cleaned up most of the other army, so I was kind of looking at the wrong action there. Sorry about that. We do have Ultralists on the way now. We've got their chitinous plating on the way as well. And the Terran player taking his 4th base just now, even had to clean, he's using his Planetary Fortress to keep the creep away. Good on you, Planetary Fortress. Oh, big engagement over here. Zerglings wrapping around. I'm sorry about that. Banelings moving in as well. A couple of Liberators trying to take out the Corruptors. And it looks like the Zerglings and Banelings just moving in, and it looks like they will overwhelm. It's going to be too hard to hold off here. And 3 Marines and a Marauder remain. The Corruptors obviously not able to attack that, but once these Ultralisks are out, I'm not sure what options Richardfeder is going to have here. Do have a, what is that, 5th command center. Counting is essential. 5th command center coming down now for Richardfeder, and he's going to try to take this left-hand side, and they're going to be getting into a split map scenario here really, really quickly. Was that maybe an SCV? I'm not sure what that was. And here we go. 3 Marauders going to go out for a quick little hit squad here. Maybe to take out these handful of Zerglings. They're just getting so many SCV kills. Scan going down to make sure the rest of the Zerg army wasn't waiting to move in there. And it looks like his whole army going to come over here, even at stimming up. So he's quite a few units are a little bit damaged there. And these Zerglings just going to town. I wonder how many workers have been killed completely. 12, 13. I'm guessing all 13, 14 were done right now by that little attack there. Scan goes down to see that this base is not taken yet. The Zerg player getting into position here, morphing in some Banelings. Terran player unfortunately does not see that. So he's not able to get in there and try to get there before the Banelings are done. But the Baneling Zergling Ultralisk is a force to be reckoned with for sure. And Terran player clearing up some creep that has almost made its way into his base. He needs to make sure that he sees this attack coming. The Zerg player coming around, trying to wrap around the other side, trying to head the Terran player off. We need to get these Widow Mines burrowed as well, because this Zerg army is just huge. And here come the Zerglings poking in there. Widow Mines are burrowed now, so that's going to be the anchor point here for the Terran army. Stimming a few units back to try to get some range on these Banelings and Ultralisks. Nice splitting there. Looks like he's going to be able to focus down a couple of Ultralisks really, really quickly. The Widow Mines moving into the front. Not the best idea there, and they do not get burrowed. And meanwhile, the Terran army forced to retreat. A few more Ultralisks just barreling down on top of this army with the Zerglings and Banelings to support. And Thor out on the field now. He's got to run away to safety. He needs some SCVs to repair him if he's going to stand any chance here. More Marines and Marauders coming out of their barracks now, but this is not a pretty sight. This is not what you want to be finishing your training and walking into. A couple of Corruptors coming down, which is nice, I suppose, later on. Liberators going down. That's why I want to kill the Corruptors, so that he can make sure that this Liberator stayed alive as long as possible. And there it goes, putting the hurt down on those Ultralisks. Thor scaring away the Corruptors as well, and it looks like the Terran player has managed to come up with a composition that's going to keep him alive for a little bit. These Ultralisks coming back to the party. This Liberator dangerously low on health. This Thor getting low as well, but it looks like he will clean up most of the Ultralisk. One Ultralisk remains over here. Another 3, though, taking down this Planetary Fortress. And the Terran player just getting picked apart. Marines and Marauders that are just spawning are running over here, and there's the good game. He's going to tap out as his 4th base is destroyed.